This is episode 286, recorded October 2nd, 2015. Packard pokes at Mars discovered to be wet after a good probing. I want to thank Dawkins Dog from the chat room for this week's show title.
What time is it? It's Packard pokes at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesAt where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokesat. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining me tonight from the far west coast is Connie, Practical Magic 9.
Does anybody else think that pumpkin spice lasagna is a bad idea?
I was at a McDonald's a couple weeks ago, and they said they have pumpkin spice turnovers. I'm like, I think you're going a little bit overboard. And joining us, not far from me, that is Michigan, is Dave. You're damned.
Greetings and salutations, Earthlings.
At least you're not on Mars. Get your ass to Mars.
Mars is crying currently.
I saw this great meme. It says, Mars is wet. Scientists, we'll be right over.
Nice.
Mars has water. So everybody grab a cup. Actually, they're saying that this water that's on Mars, which was recently discovered, is not like the kind of water that you want to drink because apparently it has some kind of saline, different kind of salt that's in there. It's not like the salt water that's in our oceans here. The salt that's in the water that they've discovered so far, I mean, what they've figured out anyway, is that this particular salt would actually kill you if you drank it. Fortunately, we don't have to do that yet. But what's really interesting is that the rover that's out there, they feel that it's not sterile enough to go over and check out to see if there's life in there because, they did a sterilization, to get rid of the more nastier bugs and whatever that's on there, but it's not a super duper decontamination, so they can make sure it's completely sterile. So they send it over there, and they dip around in the water, find it or whatever the liquid that is, and see if there's life in there. So right now it's off limits to the rover, but they will be sending another one here in 2018 to check it out, and it's going to be the ExoMars 2018 rover. When I first read it, it's not completely sterile. I was like, what are you guys doing? Having sex in the in the rover room before you go? It's like they'll send a little DNA. But no, it was really interesting. The fact is that we might find life there is a very amazing thing, and what I think mostly is if they can find life that is outside what we consider life there anyway, then it's more than likely that life can be pretty much anywhere in the universe. Kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, I always struggle to understand, the NASA stuff. I spent too many years listening to Star Trek, science ease. But
make it
yeah,
so.
I guess that, yeah, but that's immediately what I thought of was that, when we talked about how the probe is not sterile enough to actually go down and take these samples or test it, I thought of the Prime Directive, and actually I found another article that said, yeah, that's kind of exactly what this is, because we don't want to contaminate the sample. And I'm thinking, well, we're still just sending a probe up there just because it's not touching the water, is there?
Yeah.
Is it still contaminating it? But yeah, and I was trying to understand, well, why is it salt? And I guess salts, if there's water on the surface, it would have to contain some salt, I guess, is what they're saying. But it part of the reason that it doesn't have water is because of, I guess, the gravity being different, the whole atmosphere being different.
Yeah.
There, it dissipates faster. It becomes a vapor rather than solidifying.
Yeah, from what I understand now, this is just my very basic layman knowledge of this. The reason why that the atmosphere that's on Mars isn't as strong is because the Earth's or the Mars's gravity is not as strong. It's not spinning quite as fast, so it's just not as strong to hold the atmosphere in place. So a lot of the moisture that was there may have evaporated out into space while it was being formed.
Well, it becomes ice again too on its caps. And does it have something to do with how far away it is from the sun too?
No.
Would that affect the gravitational pull or not?
No, I don't think so. I'm guessing, of course. I'm not an astrophysicist. I don't even own an astro droid.
We're not talking about your sex toys.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe Dave knows a little more, though, because he knows so much about so much.
Yes, he does. Dave, your thoughts?
All I know is that the United Nations Treaty in 1967, which is known as the Outer Space Treaty, has declared that anyone who ventures to Mars can't touch the water. It's against the law.
I guess they're going to get the Mars cops out there. It's like, you touch the water, you're going to jail.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that water technically belongs to anyone who's a earthly inhabitant, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
So if you jeopardize Mars's water, presuming you find it, which they obviously now confirmed that they have,
right?
It's a crime to put something into the water that could contaminate it and make it so that we don't get good scientific data.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Unlike that one scientist that a couple weeks ago, he's the best way to put an atmosphere on Mars is fucking nuke it. I'm like, really?
He watched.
Yeah,
Total
I
Recall too
totally
many
disagree with
times.
that.
What's that, Connie? I'm sorry?
No, I was interrupting Dave. Actually, I didn't realize that. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, he's done. What
Yeah.
were you saying?
No, I just said he watched Total Recall too many times.
Oh, yeah.
That's the point of Total Recall is they have nuclear rods. They find that the alien life on Mars actually had built a nuclear reactor, and they activate it, and it creates atmosphere on Mars.
Right.
At the end of the movie.
Yeah, at the end of the movie. Spoilers. So.
Sorry. I'm sorry that I spoiled a 20-plus-year-old movie.
If you haven't seen the original, then no sense in watching it now.
Well, the jokes around Facebook are that Nestle company is interested in the water on Mars. So
making only the Mars very best.
It's exciting that we're finding water on Mars. However, it's probably not as exciting until we can find proper conclusions to what that really means.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we should hold out on thinking it means that there's life on Mars or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, not life as we know it anyway. I mean, it's not like there's some guy named Glorp walking around, saying, hey, how you doing?
There's a possibility, but, the implications are pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I question, is it H2O as we know it, or is it some kind of liquid without actually, sampling it? How are we going to know exactly what the chemical compound is of?
Right. Well, it has a lot more in it as well.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not just water.
Yeah. No. There's a lot more to it. There's some that special whatever salt that's in the water. That's there I was talking about earlier. Dawkins Dog from the chat room says, I want the first human on Mars to be called Mike Robe, just because it'll result in some fucking confusing conversations.
Yeah.
I don't know which version of My Favorite Martian you're talking about. The recent one from like the 1980s, Karn.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah, the movie. Or are you talking about the old TV show? I'm aware of both. I haven't seen them both, but I'm aware of them. So, but anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Mars rover that's there right now was never built considering they'd find water.
Right.
They really didn't expect to find it.
Yeah.
And so it's not built fit for that environment.
Right.
So even if it could bring back samples of it A, legally can't, and B, it's not built to do that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So they don't have the proper lab set up within.
They don't have anything
that.
that's proper to really study it and find out what the implications are.
Yeah. The whole area is like non gratis, So you can't go over and dig around like, yeah, let's poke around over here, So
no, you can't do that. I mean, there's a lot of very steep cliffs.
Yep.
Oh, and crevasses, like what did they call
Yeah,
them?
crevices.
Yeah.
Building a better future, science and technology.
Most people have these little things in our pockets called credit cards, so we can pay for shit wherever we go. We don't necessarily have to carry on, tons and tons of cash with us. And the problem is that these things are not very secure. If they're not secure, then anything that you have for cash that's in your checking account can be hacked. And there are websites out there, it's not much websites, but they are places out on the chat rooms in the deeper, darker web where people will exchange credit card information that you might have, and they will charge up a long bill. Fortunately, just this last Tuesday, they have a new defense system that is going to be put into the cards. It's a special chip that goes in there, and when you go to purchase something at the register, you have to have the credit card there with you, and this will register with the special readers that they have now. This last Tuesday, retailers were expected to have this EMV reading terminal, which will make good in-store purchases. This way, if someone comes up with a counterfeit card, and they can make up phony cards, it's real easy. If it doesn't have, it has that stripe on there, and it's like you try to buy something that doesn't have that special card reader in there, it's going to reject it. Connie, your thoughts?
Yeah, they'll still have the ability to read. Most places will still have the ability to read your Stripe regular debit credit card. But just this last week, I had somebody at my local Fred Meyer say, just so you know, on Thursday we have the little EMV card reader. I'm like, what is that? And sure enough, talking about exactly this thing, she said, you'll still be able to swipe your card, but if you have the little chip, that this is you scan it at the bottom of the reader, and and the articles I've been reading about it are really quite interesting because the magnetic stripe has your same number every time, but the credit card this new chip will basically, it's almost like it's encoding it. I mean, it changes it every time, and it doesn't directly go to your bank account or something. So it is an added level of security, which after 2013's Target and then Home Depot and then who knows who else, fiascos. It's really great. Of course, it's just a matter of time before this is hacked too. We all kind of know that.
Yeah,
they make a better mousetrap.
Yeah, the article said that right there. It's like squeezing a water balloon. You can't squeeze it all the way down, but it's going to pop up somewhere else. Yeah.
So being somebody who's been was late to the game to embracing paying things online and whatnot, I really do enjoy that convenience of just swiping my card and being able to put in your PIN and whatever, and paying that way. So it's exciting to see what they've done. And by the way, I know when I saw this, I thought my old Christian days when I was worried about the mark of the beast. Usually the thing they talk about, is the microchip as being the micro. I said no, it's not going to be, any kind of a threat that way.
Yeah, when I was a Christian too, I had this friend. We were doing this the whole the beast you can have is in your wallet and everything like this, and then he goes and gets a gas card. It's like, oh, you've got the beast in your wallet. It's like, no, it's just a gas card. It's like, no, that's the beast. The preacher's preaching about this, and it's like, no, that's the beast. You're just like, oh, I guess it is. Well, I'll just use it anyway. No,
barcodes, everything. Yeah,
barcodes and everything. Now, the two main ways that hackers can steal your information is that they use credit card skimmers on a magnetic stripe at ATMs or gas pumps. Now, we covered this a few months ago, maybe earlier this year, where they were putting up fake plaques on the old-style outdoor ATMs where you have to slide in your card so it unlocks the door. And then they can grab the data and run with it. But with this new chip, hopefully that even if they get the card number, it won't work anyway. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I work in a separate side of that business, I suppose. I mean, I work in a business that 99% of the business that we do is done through credit cards.
Yep.
And I collect those cards. We charge them on a monthly basis based on subscriptions, basically. Mm-hmm. I don't see how this can be applied to my business. We have not yet received any notification that we have to update our systems to accommodate this. So I was skeptical reading this because I was unaware of it beforehand, having been in a business that we do the vast majority of our business via credit card.
Well, it does say that not all businesses are going to adopt this right away. I'm sure this is something that's going to it's going to take a while to roll out.
Well, I imagine that's true. I'm just wondering, like I've not been notified whatsoever.
Oh, I'm sure it's the check's in the mail, Dave. No.
Yeah, right.
Well, according to the articles, it says that, I don't think it's mandatory, but if there's stolen data, then businesses will be liable.
Yeah, then
for the
you'd
charges.
be. I had read that as well in the article.
Yeah,
it said that if anything was stolen, the business owner would be liable.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatevs, I guess. I mean, I work in a small business. We've never had any kind of breach. We only have 3 different locations, and we're pretty tight in one area. I don't suspect there will be any kind of breach of information in the future,
Yeah, there was apparently
we're
from
small fries.
Yeah, well, sometimes the small fries are the easiest target sometimes.
Perhaps, but it's not happened yet. And
you've been very fortunate then. Very fortunate. It says here, despite the impending retailer deadline, many consumers still won't know if the new kinds of even know about these new kind of cards. In a survey in August, Electronic Payments ACI worldwide, only 59% of the consumers reported that they hadn't received credit cards with the EMV chip, and only a third of the United States is shifting towards the chip readers. What's more is only 27% of the merchants is prepared for the October deadline for the card reader technology. So you're in that percentage outside that, yeah.
How long is this going to take to implement?
Well, that's apparently, from what I understand here, the liabilities are going to start piling up starting 2017. So yeah, it looks like you have a couple of years to start getting your proper EVI or EMV chip.
EMV.
Yeah, the EMV chip card readers. So this way you're not on the hook for anything. So.
Well, good.
Yeah, so you got a couple years, but so start expecting to see when you get your new credit cards in the mail that it may look different. It may have a chip in it. It may have a chocolate chip in it. I don't know.
Nestle's make the very best EMV cards.
Yes.
I'm gonna eat 'em all up just as soon as the time through. 'Cause I got Pac-Man fever. It's driving me crazy.
Video games are so much fucking fun because you immerse yourself in a world that you can't get hurt unless you're really nervous about your character losing all its shit that you've spent all this time collecting. Like in this game, Call of Duty, Black Ops 3, they are on Twitter as well, and they were posting stuff about their upcoming game, but somebody decided, you know what, let's just post something like a news event. And it said, breaking news, unconfirmed reports are coming in of an explosion in the North Bank of Singapore Marina, Call of Duty, September 29th, 2015. Now, the thing is, people are kind of freaking out because they thought this was like, oh my God, this must be a real news event, and they decided to post it here. This is from Call of Duty's Twitter feed. Everybody that has a Twitter feed kind of customizes their Twitter feed for the way they decide to tweet. Like, I would tweet news and stories like that, so if you saw something like that from me, then you might want to look into it. But this is from the Call of Duty Twitter feed, so think about it for just 2 seconds. It's a game that they promote, and it's games that they work on. So do you think that this story is going to be something that's coming out of actually China or Singapore, and they're actually reporting a real story? Most likely not. But this is the internet, and most people have a tendency to take stuff and go, oh, conspiracy, or whatever. And now the source of the explosion that was reported in the Coalescence Corporation is a fictional company that was featured in the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Ember Tease. The tweets went to the state of Singapore. Authorities had announced the official state of emergency and declared martial law. The first post in the series of tweets read, this was a glimpse into the future fiction Black Ops 3. So the people who missed that one and then just came in like later in the day and saw these other ones and like were freaking the fuck out. So they declined to comment on this because there was a lot of backlash from the Twitter community going, hey, you're making it sound like a news report, and you didn't put in there's like for the game. If you had put that in there for the game, then we would have known. It's like, you should have fucking known when you fucking read it. It's fucking from Call of fucking Duty. Do people not have more than 2 brain cells in their head anymore? I mean, really. Kind of your thoughts.
The last video game I played, and the only one I played to completion, was Tetris Attack. I want to know what this has to do with Yoshi. It has nothing to do with Yoshi or that magical world. You know, I just find the level of, what's a polite way of saying stupidity? Really polite. Really? Call of Duty is a game. It's
right.
A game, folks. Just because it looks semi-real, because it's real. It's like, why? I don't know.
Apparently, they also put out this thing on their Twitter. I just seen it here now, where it says, from Call of Duty, it says, where we bring you real news. No. You don't bring out real news. You're Call of fucking Duty.
I think it explains a lot about people. It kind of explains what you find on Facebook when you have people that say, well, you know what, I really think that the sun goes around the earth, and we have aliens among us, and not that that stuff hasn't existed before,
right?
But the level of gullibility, I think that's the word I'm looking for. Oh my goodness!
Someone was commenting that they're comparing Call of Duty to Fox News. It's like, well, Fox News puts out propaganda, Call of Duty puts out a game. I mean, they actually give you something tangible.
I know.
Dawkins from the chat room said, these are the same people who are fooled by the fallen angels in London story. That still gets posted as real. Oh,
yeah.
I can't imagine. It's like, there's an angel in the middle of London. It's like, why would you think that's even a real thing?
Oh, now I'm going to have to look that one up. That sounds hilarious.
It does sound hilarious.
So, Dawkins' dog, are you not supposed to blink?
Yeah, don't blink. Don't blink. Dave, your thoughts?
Oh, it's ridiculous that people are that gullible.
Yes, it is.
There's no other way to say it. You guys both said pretty much everything there is to say about it. Those people just need to. It's a testimony to the level at which people are able to be swayed by gullibility and ignorance.
Yes, and it's just a matter. I think it's a matter of who they think is a real source as well. I mean, like the conspiracy websites, they think that this stuff is out there that is real. That's what they think is real, just because it's just from somebody that they think they trust, which is just.
Yeah, but they tend to just trust anybody who says something that agrees with them.
Yeah.
That's the real problem, is that they're not considering anyone who disagrees with them to be a legitimate source.
Yeah, like Connie was mentioning, like ghost hunters and shit like that.
Right.
I learned on a story, I learned just recently that one of the guys that was on Ghost Hunters, apparently he went on a podcast and said, yeah, all the shit that we do, yeah, it's all fake. It's all fake. It's all made up. It's like, duh.
Dude, they try to talk to English ghosts in German. And German ghosts in English. It's weird.
Right. Joe and Seed from the chat room says, he goes, conspiracies are real. Stop being a paid shill, Packard. Well, I wish I was getting paid.
I'm going to say, you're getting paid? You're holding out on us, Packard.
Well, apparently I'm holding out on me, too, because I'm not getting dime. Doc and Doug from the chat room said, our Labor Party's Twitter got hacked and offered everybody a free owl. Yay! Now that shit does happen too, that people's Twitter accounts do get hacked. There have been a few news sites that have been hacked from a radical or whatever. They post up bullshit on there saying that they've been taken over or whatever, and it does happen. Joe says I'm Monsanto. If only, Joe, if only.
Dude, you're totally shilling for transgenic foods.
Apparently, that's what I am. Sometimes I'm not even talking about foods. I'm talking about a Twitter feed.
No, now we're talking about transgenic foods.
Apparently. What was that, Connie?
Dave? No, I said instead of Big Pharma, it's Big Sonic.
It's Big Sonic.
It's totally Big Sonic.
It's Big Sonic. I'm Enron, apparently, too.
Dude, I know you're doing this whole podcast from like a plane that's spraying chemtrails upon all of us. You're raining down the fury of man.
That's why That's why I can't keep my camera straight, because the plane keeps jumping around.
Man.
It was a great plan.
It's a great plan. Thanks. Now you guys have all ruined it.
Dude, you've got those like headphones on that the fighter pilots use. So
I think I keep in contact with the captain.
I know. I can see it.
Pay him in Scooby Snacks.
Yeah, they pay me in Scooby Snacks. Not very good though. The chocolate covered ones are not
Scooby
bad.
Snacks and shill bucks.
Oh boy!
Stop the bees, man.
Oh, speaking of bucks, we have a little commercial we need to play for you, and we'll be back here in just a moment.
Contact us by email at ppappodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter as @PackardFolksat. Like us on Facebook.com/PackardFolksat. Call our Google Voice and leave a message at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and we will respond to it on the show. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Join us live at vonlive.tv/PackardFolksat. During the show, you can share your thoughts with us by calling 857-216-3200 using PIN number 35368 or on uberconference.com/PackardFolksat. For links to the stories, visit our show page at packardfolksat.wordpress.com. You can help support the show by purchasing merchandise from cafepress.com/PackardFolksat or make a donation to the show at patreon.com/PackardFolksat. If you can't afford any money, why not share the show with your friends and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, and on YouTube. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass.
It's the
Todd Bentley is apparently some preacher that's out there, and he seems to think that he can raise people from the dead. At least that's his claim anyway. He's claimed he's brought 35 people back from the dead. I'm like, I've been dead tired, but I've never been dead. So, but he has apparently restoring his reputation after his divorce from his wife back in 2008. And unfortunately, the two men were preaching together at Jones Harvest Fest back in 2015. Unfortunately, this footage was an event only available from those who had a subscription, so they've been unable to watch all of it, except for a few shorts. And we do have one of those videos here right now.
I wished we had a dead body we could pray for, but we don't. That would have been a great illustration. But I don't think anybody wants to sign up for that. But if we had one, this would be great. I'd have them at the altar under the sheet. We'd just be preaching. I've done that, by the way. In Africa, I have a tent so they can bring the dead, put them in the tent while I'm preaching so they don't stink in the sun. And that's a true literal story, by the way. I actually have a Raising the Dead tent that I've used for 10 years in Africa. I also use it for the demon-possessed because I figured the dead and the demon-possessed could be in the same tent. I actually put a sign on my tent called Dead Raising Tent. And people go, why do you have a tent called Dead Raising? I go, well, if I'm preaching in a city and anybody dies, I ask them to bring them to the meeting. We put them in the tent and we pray over them. And if nothing happens, we bury them. I said, give me 2 days. I mean, so if they're fresh, the closer they are to freshly dead, the easier they are to resurrect. The more days that get in there, once you get past the 4-day mark, it's somebody sent me a ridiculous prayer request. They're like, well, they've been dead for 2 years. Can we still go for it? And I said, I think this is a joke. But biblically, Lazarus was 4 days or whatever. So we could probably hit that max. But all joking aside, we really do pray for the dead to be raised. Literally. So whenever we have opportunity, we at least go for it. If nothing happens, we bury them. So we do take prayer requests. When people die, they call us or they email us, and we pray. And then if nothing happens, we bury them. But we've prayed for probably 1,000 resurrections, literally. And we've had 35 resurrections of the dead, testimonies of people raised from the dead. Some of them I've seen right before my eyes. So pretty amazing stuff.
What's interesting there is he goes, well, we get these prayer requests that are pretty ridiculous. Wait a minute. I thought your God could do anything. If your God can do anything, it's not ridiculous to ask for that kind of request, is it? If you notice there, he says, well, we have to get it within the first 4 days, which is basically he's saying 3 days. He's basically using the whole 3-day thing there to promote the idea of Jesus coming back from the dead after 3 days. He's rolling it.
Saying 4 days because of Lazarus.
Right.
Lazarus.
Right. He was saying 4 days because of Lazarus, but I mean, if you within that 4 days, the first 3 days, and the fresher they are, the easier it is. I'm like, what is this? A glad bag?
Dude, it's zombie logic.
Zombie logic, yes. and the thing is also, they always say, oh, it's always over in Africa when this shit happens. We have this special tent where you just bring your dead. Or someone who's close to dying or whatever, we'll just pray on them, and we'll just preach over them. And then, if you notice there, he's like, oh, and a few of them actually happened right in front of me. It's like, wait a minute, I thought you did all these. Wouldn't they all happen right in front of you then? I mean, if I was the one supposedly bringing someone back from the dead, I would fucking notice that. I mean, I would be witnessing it firsthand. But since there is no video camera, no recordings of or any kind, and just his word, I mean, you might as well throw your word in a bucket and throw the bucket in the river because it ain't worth shit. Connie, your thoughts?
The only video I saw was supposedly a Bentley in Pakistan, and there's some poor soul that they've dragged out, laid on the ground, and they're all pounding on this guy's chest and screaming and yelling and praying, and I don't think he's dead. I just think that he's unconscious. There's no corroboration. There's nobody who has proof. There's no video proof, no
Right.
other medical proof that anybody died and was resurrected. And as a matter of fact, I've seen other claims that his so-called healing, resulted in people still dying of the diseases that they had. It's, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Seriously, the dude's got 35. He says he's resurrected 35 people. He's got one shady video that's questionable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Out of 35 people. Seriously.
Doc and Jog from the chat room said, most men raise the dead with a tent when they wake up in the morning. That's a whole different tent there, Dawkins.
Well, one could argue, too, that, since, the 80s, since VHS cameras, there should be recordings of this.
Yeah. But they always seem to like, oh, we're going to perform these miracles. Recordings? No, we can't do the recording. But, even in this day and age, I don't think I would...
I wouldn't trust a recording.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I wouldn't trust the recording in this day and age. Because first video cameras and things came out, all those miracles that they were talking about went down to fucking zero. Then we get special effects, then all of them start jumping up again. So, just say it. The only way I would trust the recording if it was a third-party documentary that had nothing to do with them and the video was unaltered in any way.
Well, yeah, and it can't just be a single situation. I mean, you'd have to talk about hundreds in order for it to be statistically significant.
Yeah.
I mean, I see all these studies nowadays that are done on 30 participants, and those studies are jokes. They got 15 as real participants and another 15 as a control group.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not enough numbers to get real statistics.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember seeing a comment on when I was looking at the video on this, and it says, instead of out being at the hospital helping people, he's out shilling for money, which is exactly what he was doing.
That's exactly what you do, Packard.
Me? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm a big shill. I'm a big shill for Enron.
Dude, did you forget to drop the chemtrails while you were flying?
Yeah, I forgot to drop the chemtrails.
Well, you better get on that, man.
I'll make sure that the pilot hits the chemtrail button on their way through. Doc and Doc from the chat room said if they're doing that in Africa, they don't exactly have great medical facilities. What chances these successes weren't actually dead? Now, that's a very good possibility because they don't have, proper medical staff. There's like, they say, oh, they'll reach for a pulse on the arm or something, and that's like, well, that may not always be good. You have to check the carotid artery on the neck, because if it's from anywhere else, you can't fully trust it.
I think the other diabolical thing that he mentioned in passing, because we're focusing on his so-called healings, is that he has the other people he puts in that tent are the demon-possessed, and you're talking about third world countries where demons and witches and all of this stuff. This is really horrible stuff that's happening, and people believing that these things are real, and it's disgusting. But that level of fear and lack of education or proper, he's the worst kind of evangelist.
Yeah,
he really is. Pathological liar, and been doing it since he was 17, 18 years old. That's when he started his career. I'd never heard of him before this week, but he's been around for a while, and he's violent and dangerous, and wow, worst kind of preacher.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, did you have any additional thoughts on that?
No, Connie gave him bitch slapping. I liked it.
We need the bitch slap sound effect there. I think that would be fun.
I'll have to get the yeah.
Something like that.
Bitch slap for Bentley.
That's right.
It's the Onion Radio News.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
When you're a kid, you have a lot of nervous energy, and you have to get it out some way. And you have this thing that they used to be able to do in school, well, up to a certain grade, called recess. And what do kids do when they have recess? They run around and do all kinds of crazy shit. And it's unstructured playtime for them. And kids need unstructured playtime. And over in Washington State School District, they banned a game that the kids were playing because they think somebody gonna get hurt. They banned the game of tag at recess, citing safety reasons. While at play during especially at recess and unstructured time, students are expected to keep their hands to yourself. The rationale behind this is to ensure physical and emotional safety of all students. Really? Really, Director Marcy Grady, who told the local news station at Q13 Fox. Really? You think that playing tag is an emotional experience like, oh, they think that I can't take anybody. You're it. Oh, no. Fucking A, man. It's fucking a game, which children, if they want to play it, fucking let them play it. I mean, I played tag when I was a kid. I played it quite successfully. Only because I knew how to play the game. But
Because you're a sneaky little
You
bastard.
fucking child beater.
I beat all the children. Yeah, that's when I was a child. I beat them all. I won the game. I didn't get tagged.
Bully. A bully.
You heard it, folks.
I was such a bully in school. If you believe that, I have oceanfront property in Colorado. I'll sell you dirt cheap too.
Oh, I bet the bullies loved you, Packard.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
That oceanfront property, that's part of your chemtrail plan.
That's part of my chemtrail plan. That's right.
Did you drop the chemtrails at this point?
Yeah, I've already dropped the chemtrails. We're spraying the 9th district now.
The 9th district. Good.
The community members created a Facebook group called Star MI Support Tag at Recess in Mercer Island to protest this decision. The tag and the other child-led games encourage independence and much-needed activity, says the group's description. Connie, your thoughts?
Since I've homeschooled my two youngest, I've actually been quite out of touch with a lot of what happens in public schools, and my older kids were with their dads, so I wasn't involved in it, and I didn't realize. I mean, I'm looking at this story, and how long has it been that there's no touching?
Right.
My daughters have talked about that with their kids too in school. 2007, I see a story where there's like, well, we have a no touching policy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like no hugging, no this, no that, and it was crowded schools. They said, well, that's the reason that they have it there. And I'm thinking, how unhealthy is this? Is this part of what we're doing? Is this part of how we're having socially distressed children? Is that we're told don't touch each other, don't hug, how messed up is this?
Yeah, don't interact with your other fellow students, because if you create a bond with them, then that's bad. Like,
well,
no.
What is this? Yeah, what is this? The Joseph Mengele school of thought?
Yeah.
We're going to take all these kids and put them in cribs and just have them interact with themselves all day long. I mean, granted, I know kids can be mean. Dodgeball is a kind of a mean game. You have different games where people are being mean, but it's also socially how we learn to navigate the world, and we learn that, hey, that's not okay. But there's touch that's good. There's reasons that we're physical human beings, and if we don't interact with each other in some way, it's an incredible amount of control that they're trying to exert, and it's a bunch of time wasted by teachers and by the schools trying to regulate this. I can't believe they're majoring in minors.
Yeah.
It's really crappy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, you guys are, for as educated as you are, you're missing the point.
Right. Exactly.
So,
I agree with you. Anyway,
that's all I got to say.
Sure.
Sort of.
All right, Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah. So primates hug.
Yes, we do.
Like we're primates. Primates hug. Canines don't so much hug. Canines will tolerate a primate hugging them.
Mm-hmm.
Canines don't hug primates back.
No.
But primates, they hug. They have a physical and emotional necessity to touch one another. That's something that we primates and other primates have in common.
Right.
And we go to school, especially as developing primates, and we want to touch each other, and we want to play games where we have to try to avoid being touched.
Right.
That's schoolyard games.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, I believe that it's part of the developmental process. Those sort of games are part of the developmental process of our species.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to deny us that or any other curiosity that children have is a disservice to education in general.
Yes. I quite agree. Like you said, we need to be able to express ourselves and be able to, have physical contact with each other every once in a while. I mean, we're not growing up in a situation where, like, we got to treat everybody else like they're living in a goddamn museum. Don't touch that. Don't touch this. Don't touch me. Don't touch everything. I mean,
that was the worst thing I heard as a kid. Don't touch that.
Don't touch that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, walking through a store, I wanted to touch. Was it soft? Was it hard? Was it, the clothing and all of these things? I mean, I wanted to experience. And I'm just thinking, Dave, it's funny because how many games involve touch? Even in the game of baseball or softball, the way that you get somebody out is you have to touch them with the ball. You have to.
Right.
There's so many things that. God, it blows my mind, and they're cutting that. That's weird.
Yeah.
The concern is for people being hurt, and
sure.
And I think it's understandable in a certain sense, in that as a parent you want to protect your child, but at the same standpoint, like, you can't protect your child all the time. You can't be a helicopter parent who, like, hovers upon your child and stands there and protects them from every single thing.
Right. Yeah, you can't protect your child forever. I mean, it's just not possible. George Carlin said it best. Like, they're trying to protect kids from everything nowadays. They have to wear a helmet for this, that, and the other thing. The only thing they don't have to wear a helmet for right now is for jerking off. I mean,
well, yeah.
But I mean, it is ridiculous. I mean, children need to be able to have physical contact with each other once in a while. I mean, even if it's just the littlest touch. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal.
They just need to be children.
Yeah,
let
them be kids.
Realistic childhoods.
Exactly.
We're not completely separating them from the experiences that any other developmental primate has experiencit's.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well,
and that's
and
what
for
modern society is
normally.
shielding children from being natural children.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Karn was saying in the chat room, he says, you can't even play Duck, Duck, Goose for fuck's sake. Now, that one I really hated, actually. I hated that one because the kid would come around, he'd, like, touching everybody else. He'd come up behind me and shove my head, and, like, ah! It's like, hey, man, you're supposed to just tap me, not fucking shove my head into the dirt.
My favorite was 7-Up, when you put your head on the desk and then guessed who touched you.
I never heard of that one before.
Oh,
You ever play
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Never heard of that one before. I live in the middle of nowhere, remember?
Oh, in elementary school, I loved it. It was like there were 3 people at the front of the class, and everyone else put their head down, and then the 3 people went around, and, like, some kids, 3 kids in the class got tapped, and those ones had to guess who tapped them.
How would you know who tapped you? I mean,
you pay attention to the sound of their shoes, or maybe.
Oh, okay, all right.
You're paying attention to the things around you. It's like it's really good sensory.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
Test.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought maybe it's like there's some kind of like weird voodoo that's supposed to be involved.
No, it's a psychic test.
It's psychic text.
I'm
reading their mind.
And look at their shoes.
Dave,
You cheater!
you're a cheater. I like that. That's how you win. You got to cheat.
Well, as far as people playing right or playing fair, for my entire time when I was a parent, a parent raising young children, when there would have adults getting together, I would usually go where the kids were, and I would sit down and read a magazine or read a book, and sometimes I'd play with the kids, but I'd usually just be there to watch. And if play got out of hand, I would just say something. You don't want to stop play. You don't want to tell somebody, if there's a conflict, that's what we're there to do as adults. We're there to teach them how to resolve conflict. And
Right.
if it becomes escalated, I would try to prevent it from escalating to the point where there was somebody getting physically harmed.
Right.
And that's how and I modeled good play and good behavior by getting down there and playing with the kids. That was, to me, that seemed to make the most sense. And so that's my advice to most adults who have kids. It's just like, you're not going to prevent everything. That's not the point. It's just, they're learning. They are baby primates, and they're going to pull hair. These things are going to happen. And at that point, you just say, oh, no, we can't do that, And usually, and if they don't listen, then the other kids will teach them really fast. That,
oh yeah,
you're not going to do that to me, So, but yeah, that's the problem. I think sometimes maybe the teachers and the schools are just overwhelmed. I don't know how many kids come to school with enough social skills, to know what is acceptable and what's not. So I don't know. But it's a weird thing that they're discouraging it when that's exactly that's gonna boomerang and backlash. Because that's exactly what they need to learn. like Dave's been pointing out too, that's what we do,
Yeah.
So.
Doc and Jog from the chairman says, I got reprimanded at school for playing doctors and nurses, which seemed unfair as I'd almost managed to get the kid's kidney out. You played doctor at a whole different level than I did. I played doctor at a whole different level. David, do you have any last thoughts on this?
No, I'm trying to block out you're playing doctor.
You say I'm always talking. Yeah, whatever you say.
We had a comment from our last episode on episode 284, and the comment was from Hertz Rants, and he said, how stupid is Ben Carson? Hurricanes are not land-based. They aren't going through a junkyard. The original bet argument was that it was a tornado, and he couldn't even get that right. Yeah, in the video, if you watch the video from last week, Carson talks like, well, if a hurricane goes through a junkyard for 1 billion years, you're suddenly going to get an airplane. I'm like, well, if you have 1 billion years, well, who knows what's going to happen to it? And something going to fly together, who knows? Because it has billions of years. It's not like it's going through over the weekend or something, which is really stupid. Connie, your thoughts?
I love our comment sections. It's really great. I'm so appreciative when people post responses on our YouTube videos. So
yes,
that's really great.
Yeah, and I love when people leave comments on our YouTube videos. So if you're out there, please come to the YouTube channel and leave a comment there. That'd be great. Dave, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, my only thought is that why is he comparing inanimate, unalive objects to the evolution of life?
Yeah, that's because he doesn't believe in evolution, and this is why he's made this comment.
All these people who use these arguments, why are they comparing things that aren't alive to things that are alive?
I don't know. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Where they get that logic? Like this inanimate object, if I throw a bunch of keys into a hurricane, and over the course of time, they'll unlock the lock to my final destiny, or God. Right? It's fucking ridiculous.
It is.
Oh, wasn't he commenting on a video that we featured?
Yeah.
What's that?
He was just leaving a comment on a video that we featured. He was
right. Yeah, I get that. I didn't see the video, but I think I understand the comments, and it's fairly ridiculous.
Yeah. Actually, it was just the audio clip. We didn't actually have the video. We just played the audio clip from the show. But, yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, Ben Carson's running for president, and he doesn't believe in evolution, and he thinks the watchmaker argument is a good argument against evolution, and it's been disproven again and again and again and again. So if you're out there and you think that this is a good argument, fucking put it back in your toolbox and lock the toolbox and throw away the key, because it's a bad argument.
Yeah, unless they want to start from the premise that the watch is alive.
Yeah.
And then they can't use the watchmaker argument.
Right.
It hinges on the watch being a living thing, and it's not.
Exactly. Karen from the chat room says, man was made, supposedly. Airplanes are made. Therefore, they both get required as an inventor.
Yeah, except that's completely a false analogy.
Exactly.
You can't compare an airplane to a man. You can't compare a machine made out of metal to a primate that evolved.
Right.
Meat.
Exactly.
You know,
he was just saying that Carson was a fool, and I was like, I appreciated him picking up on that, because Carson was the one who actually made the watchmaker argument.
Yeah.
But
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, but you know, when you ask him where did their imaginary friend come from, it's like, oh well, then we break all logic here. It's like, oh well, then we use a special pleading fallacy. It's like, oh, he's always been around. So if whatever, it's just total bullshit on their part.
No. The watch morphed.
The watch morphed.
The watch morphed into a god, because that's the only logical step you can take, and it's not really that logical.
Of course not. All right. Well, we got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming. We'll be back next week with our regular short show. This has been Packard Pokes that we just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.